Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Happy Monday, everyone. And well, it is Monday, isn't it?
It is. It's
good.
come back around. It has a way of doing that.
It does. Right. It's Monday, Dylan. He doesn't know what day. He doesn't know
see that holiday weekend screwed him all up.
Well, holiday weekends screw you up. Vacations screw you up. So I had to make sure of where I was this morning. But welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV. It is Monday, which means our great friend Pete Wilson is here to kind of recap all of some of the fun things and maybe good, maybe bad things that happened over the weekend.
It's usually a mixed bag.
It is.
And it is again.
It is. Well, welcome back. I was, trying to catch up, and I was reading some of your articles. So if you don't cover them, I have some questions for you about some of the things.
That is all right. There's
some of the stuff and things.
We answer a lot of questions, and we leave a lot of them unanswered.
Okay. So. Well, I'll let you talk, and if you don't cover what I have questions about, I'll ask you. How's
that? I tell you what. You are the host, and you can jump in anytime you want.
Well,
all right.
Thank you, Pete.
And you can let my jaw rest then.
Okay. Sounds good. Fair.
All right. Okay. Well, we're going to start off with a good story. We like to do that. And this is a sports story. It was achieved last Friday evening. Oak Hill High School senior Garrett McInnes,
yes,
who went to the state track meet last year, was back at it again this year. This year, the state track meet was in Dayton. Oak Hill is in Division III, and he qualified in the 100-meter dash and the 400-meter dash.
That is amazing.
You don't have to run them at the same time, but even though they're short races, they take a lot out of you, a lot of energy and so forth.
Yes.
The way it worked out, he qualified first. There is Garrett with the medal around his neck, so that's a spoiler. He did do well.
Alert.
He did do well. On Friday, he ended up fifth in the 100-meter dash. Now,
that is insane.
When you go to the state, I believe I'm correct on this. I think there's 16 qualifiers, from all over the state that get there. And then they have a preliminary that decides whether you're in the top 8. If you're in the top 8, you are considered a placer. In other words, you score points and you're one of the you're on the podium.
Yes.
A moment of glory no matter what you do. There is Garrett on that podium that I just referred to. If you look there on the right side, the second person up in the black, that is Garrett, and there's a 5 under his name because he finished in 5th place.
That is so good.
And he did this. 100 meters. It's just a little bit more than 100 yards. 11.19 seconds. 11.19. So that is pretty doggone fast.
Yes.
Obviously, or you wouldn't be in the state track meet.
Correct.
And so he finished 5th. He also qualified for the state track meet in the 400-meter dash. When he qualified for the top 8, he was like 12th, so he didn't quite make the top 8 there.
Okay.
But he is considered a state track meet qualifier. He is the first athlete in Oak Hill High School history to qualify in 2 meets, or in two events in the same year. And he is believed to be the first Oak Hill track athlete to qualify for the state track meet in 2 years in a row. So
that is so cool.
all that is very special. He also has the records the school records in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and 400-meter dashes. That's all the fast things.
Yes.
And he is also a member of the 4x400-meter relay team, 4 men running 100 meters each in a relay.
Yes.
He is also a member of that team that holds the school record.
Wow.
So I would say he did pretty good. Now, Garrett is obviously a very good athlete, but he really didn't start running organized track until I think his sophomore or junior year in high school.
Just like a year and a half or 2 years ago or something.
It was something like that.
Crazy.
That's all covered in a story that's going to be in the Telegram on Wednesday about the state track meet, and that story is already online, by the way. He ran Friday evening, which was past our print deadline, so we couldn't get it in Saturday's edition, but it will be in Wednesday's edition, and that story is already online with some photos. We did an interview with him as well. Last Saturday's paper, it had a story about how he did in the 400-meter dash because, it fit into our deadline, but also there's a story about the fact that he is going to be running track at Shawnee State University next year.
Awesome.
So, he
found a hidden talent late in life.
Right, he worked very hard, obviously to develop his talent, his natural talent, and it's usually a combination of, what God put in and then what you do with it, and that certainly was that way with Garrett. He is the son of Heath and Melissa McInnes. Heath is the head basketball coach and a teacher at Oak Hill. Yep. Melissa happens to be a teacher at Wellston as well. Garrett has a Wellston connections too. His great-grandmother, Barbara McInnes, who we know very well, she's a contributor to the paper, former newspaper woman with the Telegram and with the Athens Messenger. She is his great-grandmother, and she lives in Wellston. And his grandfather, Garrett's grandfather, the late Ray McInnes, was an outstanding athlete at Wellston High School, graduated in 1972, and then Heath, Ray, and his wife moved to the Gallipolis School District because of his job, and Heath graduated from Gallia Academy High School, where he also was an outstanding athlete too, particularly in basketball. So, it does run through the family there.
Genes are there.
Right. So congratulations to Garrett McInnes, and as we say, you can see, all of our coverage in the Wednesday print edition and already online. Okay, we do want to also congratulate, since we're talking about, state level excellence, Gavin Jones, the Jackson High School baseball pitcher, who was there he is, throwing the ball. That's what he's really good at. He's only a junior. He is first team All-Ohio.
Holy moly!
Right, that just came out over the weekend. That was posted by the Jackson Ironman baseball Facebook page. And Gavin rather. I'm not sure how many are on the All-Ohio team, but that is as good as you can get. He's first team, only a junior. Of course, had an outstanding season. Helped lead the Ironmen to a great season, 24-5 Frontier Athletic Conference Championship. Went all the way to the district championship game in the tournament. Had a couple of no-hitters during the year, and he will be back next year. He also plays tight end and linebacker for Coach Andy Hall's football team.
Nice.
So congratulations to him.
So cool.
And since we're on sports, we'll swing to the northern end of the county and talk about Maddie Potts. Madison Maddie Potts, she was in the news not too long ago because she was one of the best of the class for the top 4 academic ranking members for Wellston High School. We should have a picture of her with the signing. There she is. That is Maddie right in the middle. She's flanked by her parents, Mike Potts and Sarah Potts. And Maddie was a senior at Wellston High School. She was on that outstanding Lady Rockets softball team. She was a shortstop, also a pitcher. She was kind of like the next pitcher behind her younger sister, Hannah, who is truly, truly outstanding and just a junior. She'll be back next year for Coach Jim Hall and the Lady Rockets. But Maddie, of course, she's a student athlete. We can use that title for her, best in the class, also one of the top players on the team. The reason that we took that picture, she's signing a letter of intent to play softball and, of course, go to school at Kalamazoo College in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yep.
The Potts family grew up there. She has a great affinity for the state of Michigan, and she knew she wanted to head back there someday. And even though she had a great experience at Wellston, she's going north, Maddie is, and that is where she will be playing softball. Coincidentally enough, another great Wellston softball player who graduated last year, Jennifer Johnston, she is Jenna Johnston, rather, is playing softball at Oakland University, which is also in Michigan.
Oh, wow.
So congratulations to her as well. So that's the softball stuff. While you were gone, something happened that was very good for Jackson County.
I saw that little
Now
sneak peek.
this is a big truckload of money coming down from Columbus.
Holy moly.
Through a state program that is called it comes through the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation. It is Ohio Jail Safety and Security Program. I had to look it up because it's a new one. But they are sending $32.8 million to Jackson County as the main money. May not be all it takes, but certainly the main money for a regional jail in Jackson County. Now, being around and informed as you are, you know that this has been much discussed, and under the surface, not a whole lot's been said lately. This is one of the biggest problems in Jackson County government and in the criminal justice system. We've had the Jackson County Correctional Facility that opened in 2000. It's got 40 beds. There it is. That is the building where the sheriff's office is, and the part that's not shown is where the probate juvenile court is as well.
Yep.
But within that building is the Jackson County Correctional Facility, 40 beds. It wasn't too long after it was built, it was obvious that it's not big enough. Due to the nature of the structure, they knew they needed more jail space. They couldn't build up in that structure. So all this time, almost for many years now, they've talked about, a new jail or a jail annex or something, or some system where they could take the pressure off not having enough jail space. The problem is, it's not that they let people go free and don't put them in jail. They have to take them places that are far away.
Yeah, and that costs lots of money,
That
Pete.
is a double-edged sword. As you're talking about a man's or woman's time on the corrections officers, you're talking about the gasoline mileage, and our jail inmates in Jackson County go as far away as Wood County. That's up around Bowling Green. Monroe County,
That's
which
forever
is
from here.
north of Marietta. Morrow County, which is north of Columbus, and many other places. And so, they've talked this, and one of the problems is, even with all the money coming out of the state of Ohio and the feds for this and that, there wasn't a lot of jail construction money that was available. Well, now there is this program, and and we have to give Jackson County Commissioner Donnie Willis, he has been the spearhead. I mean, everybody has backed it, but he has definitely been the one with the boots on the ground to work with local officials, other counties on possibly being regional partners, because the state is more likely to give money to a facility that can help more than one county.
The surrounding counties, which is really cool.
Right, and who those regional partners or customers might be are still up in the air, but right now the partners are, at least this was published, are Pike County and Lawrence County. Now, all these counties have jails, but they're just not big enough.
Right.
And because they're not big enough, Jackson County can't go to Pike County and say, "Hey, listen, I've got some overflow."
Because they're already maxed
they
out.
all have the same problem to different degrees. And so this $32.8 million will be used for a new jail, and that begs a couple questions. When will this be? Well, it's not going to be tomorrow, all right? They got $1 million about a year ago, for a feasibility study. Can you believe that? $1 million to study the particulars of how a jail needs to be. Now, maybe they won't need all of that, but certainly they have enough.
Sure.
And that will take a while to do. But once they have the feasibility study, they'll have some details in line about, where the jail can be, who's going to be involved in the jail, how big it's going to be, staffing, utilities, all the things you need to know before you put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah, and the first question, of course, posed to me is, where is this thing going to be? And I read in your article, I think that they have a few sites in mind, but haven't actually, like announce them.
Right. Donnie Willis knows where they are. They're not at the point where they know where the site is, but they either have 2 or 3, he said, that it's going to be one of those 2 or 3 spots. It'll likely be around Jackson. I'm thinking it will be in a place that's good for transportation.
It would have to be off a highway
not
somewhere.
up in some holler somewhere, because you're going to have nearby counties coming in, and accessibility will be important, as well as size and all those other factors.
Utilities are important.
Right, exactly. You got to have that. You just can't pick out a plot of ground that's cheap if it's not ready, for development and like that. So, that's a kind of like a hint of where it won't go. You've got to have the utility. So, they're talking about potentially 300 beds. Right now, think that we have 40 beds in Jackson County. However, they have 40 beds, and Sheriff Ted Frazier told me when I did my research for this story that they're able to get 56 prisoners in the 40 beds. Okay, 56 into 40 beds. I don't know how they double up or whatever.
What?
But I guess legally they can do.
Okay.
They have room for 56. All right.
Okay.
Maybe something that's not a non-conventional bed or something.
Yeah.
But they have 56. They have 56 room for 56, and then they have about usually an inmate total of 110. So you have almost as many going out of the county somewhere as that are in the county. And that's not good. $300,000, he says, is what they're spending for what they call out-of-county jail.
That adds up quickly.
$300,000. Now, $32.8 million to build a jail, that's a lot, and this is money coming from the state, so that's good. Think of all that money that is going to be saved. Sure. Also, think about from an economic development standpoint. I know that's not the main thing. You're going to have more jobs there.
Lots of jobs.
You're going to have more jobs there. They're going to be able to house females. That is one of the problems. I can remember the dialogue because I've been around. I can remember the dialogue that when they built the jail, of course they wanted to be as frugal as they could because that was even expensive in that day. And they talked about the funding and all like that, and that was going to be financed locally by a sales tax. So they didn't want to make it any bigger than it needed to be. Some people thought it needed to be bigger than it was, but they came to the conclusion that they don't have very many female offenders, so let's not plan for that because you got to have extra staff.
It's a whole different situation.
A segregated area,
Yes.
And they soon found out that, mainly because of drugs, there are more female offenders than there have been. There are many drug-related offenders. A lot of the offenders, whether they have committed a drug-related crime, they are there for drug-related reasons. They have drug problems, or they're involved in drugs in some way. They're abusing drugs or trafficking or whatever. So one of the things that might happen, because here's another question that you automatically think of. Okay, if they have this new jail, and that's going to support not only Jackson County, but Pike and Lawrence County, other counties can rent space there. That's a possibility. You got that money coming in. Instead of spending money, you're bringing in money. But what would they do with the old jail?
That was going to be my question to you.
Well, Donnie Willis has an idea for that. And I don't think this is set in stone, but it sounds something pretty logical. You remember that one of the things they talked about, they can't get jail construction money. What can we do to help the situation? They talked about establishing somewhere what they call a CASC, Community Alternative Sentencing Center.
And that Judge Music actually talked about that while he was here.
Judge Music was pushing that as well as other people on his committee, and that included Donnie Willis. And that is not a high security thing. You're considered an inmate, but you're
more like a rehabilitation.
You're more of a probationer.
Yeah.
You're basically, you're I guess you could say you're committed to that facility, but part of the thing is to counsel and clear you of your drug-related problems. And the idea is there's 2 good things about that, according to Donnie. The 2 good things is you're going to straighten somebody's life around, and you're going to hopefully make them productive.
Hopefully, yes.
And then what do we need in this county and everywhere else? We need
workforce.
Workers. We need workforce. So you're creating a workforce there of people who will need jobs. And so it's kind of helping the labor supply. I know that's kind of a strange way to look at it.
No, but I don't. I think that's a wonderful way to look at it.
So what they could see possibly happening is the Jackson County Correctional Facility becoming a Community Alternative Sentencing Center, or CASC,
Okay.
as an acronym. And once again, all this is, at this point, a possibility, hypothetical, but it's also very likely as well as this plays out. It is certain that Jackson County is going to get a regional jail. It's not certain all the counties are going to be involved in it. Donnie said that counties that are part of it could be partners. In other words, it could be Jackson, Pike, and Lawrence running it together, even though it's in Jackson County. Or they and other counties could become customers, kind of. They have nothing to do with running it, but they're customers, and they make commitments on number of prisoners and like
Sure.
that you need to have. It's just like at a hotel. You don't want to have a hotel where nobody comes. That won't be a problem because we have too many prisoners, but
Yeah,
still,
I mean,
you have to kind of have a handle on your trade, I guess.
if we have 50 beds, now or roughly, and they fill up that quickly, you start thinking 300 beds with multiple counties would fill up very quickly as well. So I'm sure they've thought of all that, but yeah, but I like that alternative program, because I think if you would talk to, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know Judge Music was very, there's a lot of folks that are put in jail that don't need to per se be in jail or whatever. Maybe a rehabilitation situation would be a better alternative or a better start. And then if they continue to mess up, if you will, then whatever. But
Right.
you know, I think Judge Music is very much a second chance person, and so
Well, he is
a good
concerned.
alternative.
He's concerned about the person. I
Yes,
give
he
him
is.
always a lot of credit for that.
Very much.
The offender. He's concerned about the offender personally. Helping them as well as
he is.
doing the sentencing and like that. That is due as well. But on the cask, everybody thought that was a good idea. But once again, you have to get funding for it. And in this case, since they needed the Jackson County Correctional Facility for, the so-called regular prisoners, they needed to find somewhere else for the cask, and that was going to be money. Well, now
This
they
is
don't
like
have to.
win-win.
Now they don't have to find another place. They have one because they're going to have a jail,
Right.
a full service jail somewhere else.
Yes.
And they had all kinds of problems. Not only all this money that they're spending to send prisoners out of the county, but this was a problem. Every now and then it got talked about, but it was more whispering within the system. They had trouble placing female offenders,
Yep.
and female offenders got around to the point where they knew that incarceration, sometimes they could avoid incarceration because they couldn't find a place for them.
There wasn't anywhere to put them.
Right, and so now there will be, and so that will be a factor, I think, that can influence some of the female offenders. They know that they're not going to catch a break maybe on incarceration, and maybe be given a different type of sentence than they would have if there was a place to put them.
Okay.
So that's another aspect. All right, now we're going to go to history a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. One of Jackson's oldest houses, or believed to be one of Jackson's oldest houses. Some said maybe it was the oldest house. And this is kind of sad, but it's a reality thing. Called the Price House, named for David Price, who lived in the house many years ago in the 1800s. This house is at 236 Harding Avenue, and there it is. That was as it looked last week, just several days before it was demolished.
Yeah.
Okay,
saw
go
that.
ahead and put that other picture up there. That is what it looks like now. And believe me, the Jackson Historical Society that saved this house several years ago, in 2019, they bought it for $10,000. I'm not sure what the previous owner was going to do with it, but it perhaps would have been demolished or whatever. I don't know that for a fact. But the Historical Society bought it with the idea of preserving it because, Bob Irvin did his research, Mr. History in Jackson County.
Sure, of course.
And he determined that it could have been pre-Civil War.
Oh,
For
wow.
sure, it was around 1900. They knew it was there, but some research indicated it could be pre-Civil War, and some speculation was if it wasn't the oldest house in Jackson still standing, it was one of the oldest.
Wow.
So their idea was to preserve history by buying it, securing it, and then hopefully getting grants or fundraising to restore it or fix it up. And they even had the idea that maybe one day it could be their quarters, an
Yeah,
office.
that's what I thought. Like a historical society office.
Right.
if
You
will.
walk in there and it's a historical landmark on top
Sure.
of that. Well, that takes money. And the Jackson Historical Society is all volunteers. They're not rolling in dough. They have to be very resourceful to try to get the money they have. Obviously, grants is what they count on, and they're not always easy to get. A lot of people are after it, and sometimes you need some match money, and that's a catch-22 when you don't have money to begin with. You need it, but it's just like when you need a loan, but you don't have the collateral to get it. It's very frustrating, but.
That is so sad, though,
it is.
but I get it.
But the reason why they let it go was it was in very poor condition as it was, worse than they even thought. And it was going to take somewhere $100,000 or north of $100,000 to just fix it up, let alone restore it to its former glory, whatever that was. And they weren't going to have the money. It was becoming a security risk over there. They tried to secure it the best they could.
Yeah, there was lots of beams and braces and things just holding up the side of it, I saw.
When it was demolished last week, some of the Historical Society members, they posted this, and they said that there was hardly any mortar within the bricks anymore. It was just like a house of cards almost.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's not even cheap to demolish either. That takes a little bit of money.
Sure.
So they had the opportunity to do that through the Jackson County Land Bank.
Yes.
Which they have gotten a good bit of state money,
Yes.
to demolish structures all over the county, and this is happening in about every county in the state, I imagine.
Sure.
So they took advantage of the opportunity to get this money and do the demolition, and that took place last week, towards the end of last week, and that pile of rubble's there. I'm sure it'll be cleaned up soon. Now, as sad as that is, and they regret it, but I think they all at the Historical Society, as far as I know, at least from the ones that I had communication with, they knew this had to be. I'll read you exactly what Carmel Snyder Johnson, she is the president of the Historical Society. This was a very short message that she put out. Due to a lack of funding and the high cost of estimated restoration costs, the Price House on Harding Avenue was demolished. The demolition was very easy and confirmed that this house was not safe. The decision was not taken lightly, but limited resources will be concentrated on the Salt Lick Village completion and the development of the Archive Records Center.
Yes.
So, in addition to not having the money and the fact that it was going to take a lot of money, and they had the opportunity to get it demolished for free, that kind of pulled the trigger. They've got Salt Lick Village over there that's been going on for more than 10 years already, and that's going to take money to develop. They have some things over there, but one of the things they want to do is do a recreation of a salt iron furnace, the thing that got Jackson going in the first place. So that's something,
That's definitely
they're
our heritage.
consistently fundraising there to develop Salt Lick Village. So,
what will they do with a lot?
okay, well, that's going to be up to them, but it has some value.
Yeah.
Perhaps they can sell it. I don't know whether they have a use for it or not. Maybe the greatest value would be to sell it.
They don't make land anymore, Pete.
They
so.
they don't make land anymore, and there's lots of people who, we invest. A lot of people invest in stocks or in financial things. A lot of people invest in real estate.
Yes.
And so I have no doubt that somebody will jump on that once that lot is cleared, and so that is a very viable option for the Historical Society. They all those bricks, because that was a brick home. There's value in the bricks. They hope to be able to use those bricks over at Salt Lick Village in some way.
Oh, cool. That would be neat, just to be able to pay it forward to that project.
Right. Yeah. There was virtually no mortar anywhere in the bricks other than the small section that had been redone a couple of years ago. They hope that the bricks that are needed for the proposed landing area at the rear of the depot over at Salt Lick Village, they hope to maybe use the bricks for that. So they also have the possibility of selling these bricks. Do you remember when they did the street out there in front of Archinettes?
Yeah.
Down there. There were
yes,
people,
do I remember?
Yes, I know. That did affect you. There were people that bought those bricks.
Yes,
they were
for sure.
They were glad to do it. That was a little fundraiser for the city there.
Yep.
So anyway, so that a good and bad thing. The bad thing is we have lost a piece of history.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't save everything. There's
know.
realities and practicalities that go, and as we said, the Historical Society has the lot. They can focus on what has been their main project, Salt Lick Village, and other things. They've got other things cooking as well. They're very active. They meet once a month. They got some money from the Jackson City Tourism Board to pay for part of a historical marker that's going to go in Jackson County Veterans Memorial Park. They have to get approval from the Ohio Historical Connection and some money from them, but they'll probably do it because now they have some match money to work with. But one of those beautiful brass historical markers that we see around town, one will be there to pay tribute to John Woolham, who was a Civil War veteran who was involved in the great locomotive chase in the Civil War. That was where a group of Union undercover agents, I think they were all military, they tried to hijack a supply locomotive train of the Confederates in Georgia, and the Confederates went after them, and they were captured. John Woolham was not one of those who was hung. He was later released, and he later got the Congressional Medal of Honor, one of Jackson's Congressional Medal of Honor. I believe he's buried in Fairmont Cemetery, I do believe. But anyway, they want to put up a marker to him, and where else is better than Jackson County Veterans Memorial Park? I believe that's been all cleared, but that's the plans.
Okay.
All right, since we're talking about buildings, we'll go to the opposite end of the spectrum and talk about some new things. This Wednesday, the Jackson County Health Department is going to have an open house at their new site.
Yes.
Last week, they moved into their new site from downtown. Of course, they were at the B.J. Allison Health Building there at the corner of East Main and Portsmouth Street. Been there since the 70s when that building was built. But they need more room, and they need their own space, and that new space is at 102 Twin Oaks Drive. There it is. Thank you, Dylan, right on cue. That is what it looks like. It's right across the road from the Holzer Medical Center, Jackson, kind of catty corner.
Yeah, across the highway.
By the convenience store, Clark's Pump and Shop. Most recently, that building was home to one of the administrative centers for the Milton Banking Company, which became, of course, part of Ohio Valley Bank.
Sure.
And the county or the health department, I'm not sure who the buyer was, but that was bought for the health department from OVB. And they spent, a couple days moving in, and they're operating from in there now. And they are having a public open house this Wednesday, this very Wednesday, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Anybody can go in, take a tour, see the new facilities there. The staff, of course, Health Commissioner Kevin Aston and everybody else will be there, to show them the place and also maybe explain and talk about the things they do in the health department, which, it's more than it used to be. And so,
absolutely.
So that is another upward and outward thing. That, once again, is at 102 Twin Oaks Drive, right off State Route 32.
Okay.
And anyone can go to the open house. You don't have to be involved, be a health department client or involved with the health department.
They might even have a cookie or two.
Well, they didn't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And they'll be healthy cookies.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe they won't
Maybe
be.
not be.
Maybe not. They got to get them in there. All right. We'll talk about an even newer building now. The Vinton County National Bank building in MacArthur continues to progress. Red Thompson Jr., when he goes up to MacArthur, he's always taking a look at what they're going. He always has praise for Randy Evans Construction and the good job that they're doing with that building. And it's just not going to be a bigger utilitarian building that will provide more space and better facilities. It is a beautiful building.
Yes.
On top of that. There it is.
Woohoo!
That's what it
Wow,
looks
it's
like.
coming along.
I mean, it looks almost like a lodge or something.
Yeah.
doesn't it? Well, there's a reason for that. They wanted, excuse me, to have a lodge-type look because of the tourism development in Vinton County, which is one of the things they're trying to develop to help economic development, and because they're right there by the Hocking Hills and like that. So here, this just shows you there's a lot of construction equipment over there that's going on. This is a $2.6 million building. It is supposed to open this year. I would say from the looks of it, it is definitely going to happen.
Wow,
But,
it's, yeah.
There's no opening date that has been announced yet, but it's certainly coming up sometime here in 2024.
They're on the move, that's for sure.
But that is at 203 West Main Street, and that is the former McClure's restaurant site.
Yes.
And it's just down the street a little bit from the current bank building, which is historic. It's at 112 West Main Street, almost right there on the corner of Main and Market in the heart of downtown MacArthur, where the stoplight is. They're going to continue to operate from in there, but it's going to be administrative and staffing. It's not going to be retail at all. All the retail operations will be in this new building right there. You can see they have a big drive-through area there.
Yep.
And that is a $2.6 million building. And they also use Vinton County lumber. They didn't ship in the lumber from somewhere. They wanted to use Vinton County lumber, wood, because that is another foundation of the economy of Vinton County.
That's kind of the point.
Exactly.
Of paying homage to the timber industry there, and of course, yeah, our tourism and all of that stuff. That's what makes people come to this area.
So, yeah, and so some of those photos and the story about the update, that will be in Wednesday's edition of the Telegram.
Okay.
At least that's my plan since I sit here right now.
Okay.
All right, it's always a fluid situation on the
It
news,
is.
right? You know, you think you have everything planned from your holiday weekend, then a tornado hits. You know, it's that sort of thing.
Dude, I missed the tornado.
Well, I was sitting in this building less than a block away from where it hit, and I didn't even know it.
This
Oh, you're
happens
kidding.
every single time you leave, Jen. Something just wild and unbelievable in the town.
I know.
happens.
I'm not allowed to leave town anymore.
Last time it
because-
was El King, and now this.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, we all
stuff.
survived. The bottom line on that, Jennifer, is that it was not good, but nobody got hurt. There was property damage, but
And
it could have been a heck of a lot worse.
From the pictures I saw, I don't know how somebody didn't get hurt.
If you're the Lily Clark residents at 831 Main Street, you don't feel that way because that was ground zero for the worst of the tornado. 90-mile-per-hour winds, 2 or 3 vehicles destroyed because trees fell on them.
Didn't it move, turn over a tractor trailer
Turned
or
over a
something?
tractor trailer there at the parking lot just by the Apple City Wholesale.
That is crazy.
And it was, they had to bring in special equipment to get
I'll
it back.
bet.
Yeah. So, that's what the tornado did. And I think it passed over the back end of our property here, away just off the building. It blew things that, you could not lift,
Sure,
a strong man could not lift on his own. And so it was something to see. Some of it showed up kind of like on surveillance cameras, so you could actually see it. That was cool. And then we had the one picture, that we showed on television that was taken by the Jackson Fire Department, and it showed that a really big black cloud about the time that it happened. It wasn't the classic funnel, but it was this massed black cloud that was almost hitting the ground, and you could believe that there was a tornado in there, or there was about to be a tornado in there.
Do you remember, Pete, a time where, so this is the second documented tornado that we've had
This year,
this year.
after there were 6 in 74 years.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Right.
Does this ever happen here?
Not very often.
There have been a total of 6 in 74 years, and
Right.
we've had 2 in 4 months.
Right, yeah, a little over 1 month, actually. Yeah, because April 2nd and May the 26th, May the 26th.
And it's, number one, that's weird that it's happening here, but it seems like it's happening kind of nationwide.
It is. There's more tornadoes, I know, in Ohio than there has been for a while, too.
It's just odd. You turn on, the nightly news or whatever, and they're talking about storms all over to the country, and you're like, wow, I just don't remember this being news.
Right. I don't know. It's whether you're into the climate change thing or not.
Something's going on.
Right. It's or just a crazy pattern that maybe won't happen again. Whatever.
I do kind of question if it's, I know in the nation it's more common now, but I do kind of question within Jackson if it's that they're increasing or if it's that we're getting better at identifying what exactly is a tornado.
Well, the National Weather Service has been logging them since 1950, and it's not a tornado until it says it is. It's just like if you see a bear and you don't have the evidence of a paw print, feces, or a picture, it's not a bear till the Ohio Division of Wildlife says it is. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think that the Robert Chesleski, who is the EMA director, he correctly identified that both of those events we had were tornadoes, and there was lots of people getting on, oh, those were straight line winds, we didn't have a tornado. He was right both times, and he wasn't definitive because he didn't know for sure, but he's a trained
the
weather
National
spotter,
Weather
and
Service
he
says-
had the NWS, National Weather Service, come in person, and they were able to identify or confirm that both of them were tornadoes. They can tell from the damage, if you have eyewitnesses, if you have a picture, but the straight line winds, the debris is straight, and if it's a tornado, it's circular. That's one of the hints. I don't know
that
that's a
makes
100% thing.
Because the tornado's going around and the winds are going just
Right.
in a straight path.
Kind of. And also, is there a path? Because straight line winds, they can come down more than one spot, but it's usually like one spot as opposed to a path that may be up, more like this tornado was over 3 miles long, 3 to 4 miles long.
I don't know how it didn't hit my house. And so,
You weren't too far away there.
I'm away and I'm like calling the house sitter, like, are you guys all right? And he's like, yeah, we just got some rain. And I was like, thank God. But yeah, it's wild.
It definitely is.
But that is a good point, Dylan. I don't know, whether they're just identifying them better now or.
Yeah, because like if straight line winds have been super common for a really long time, I wonder if they had just been misdiagnosed in prior years.
I mean, there may be something to that.
Right. Well, it's kind of like it all comes down to a determination by the National Weather Service. There's probably been events that didn't get looked at.
Right.
And
exactly.
Maybe it was a tornado.
Yeah.
But it's whether.
But regardless, we don't have weather like
this. Whether they're 100% for sure or not, whatever they say, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Or what it isn't. And we have had times where they've come and they said it's straight line winds. And straight line winds can be nasty too.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
We had that, not a few now, it's been several. 4th of July's, do you remember that whole storm that wiped out electric for people for
weeks? Yes. Oh, it can be nasty. They can be very, very nasty as well in a more isolated way.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to a highway project that people in the Jackson area may have seen if they're driving through this area. It is the infamous intersection of State Routes 32 and 139.
The one that nobody can cross without getting in a wreck.
It seems like there's been a lot of crashes there. I'll pull off the qualifier. There have been.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of crashes there. And I remember I've talked to law enforcement people on the ground there. And because, there have been talk we need a traffic light there or some other. Something changed. And I know that I won't say all of them, but some of the law enforcers and highway safety people said it shouldn't be needed. The volume of traffic is not that heavy, and the sight lines off 139, if you're crossing the highway or turning onto the opposite way, so you have to go across the median, you should be able to see the traffic coming.
You should be able to, but obviously people can't. So there's an issue there.
It's a failure to yield situation almost always because, the traffic, coming through doesn't have to stop. There at all. And there's no caution lights either. Sometimes you see those at intersections. That's been talked about. But they're doing a safety project now, and this is a diagram for it. I know some people,
which is clear as mud. This were going to be my questions to you today, Pete, because
okay.
I don't understand what the heck that thing's showing.
We ran that on the front page, and after I looked at it and talked to the people at ODOT District 10,
would you please
I understood,
explain?
but if
We're talking about U-turns and all kind of stuff.
This is a generic drawing of what is called an R-cut intersection, which is what they're doing.
Okay.
But pretend that the big road that's vertical there is State Route 32. On the side is State Route 139 on either side, okay? All right. What's going to happen with an R-cut? And you can do R-cuts one or two different ways, but our R-cut, what it's going to do, basically, trying to simplify it as much as I can, you cannot cross the highway anymore. You can't go across 4 lanes in other words, from 139 to the other side of 139.
You always have to turn right.
You have to turn right. You cannot make left turns from 139 onto 32. You can make left turns off 32 to 139, but you can't make left turns from 139 to 32. What you have to do is
I see now.
You have to make a right turn onto 32, and then just a little bit down, not very far at all, there's going to be
A U-turn.
A U-turn place where.
Are you not supposed to make U-turns, Pete? Are they encouraging
well,
them now?
This is a legal U-turn, and it's not and you're making you're going from the eastbound, you're going like from the westbound lanes on 32 to crossing over the median and going on the eastbound lanes, going the other way. So you're turning right to go left, basically, is what you have to do. And now from 32, there's going to be turn lanes, so you can turn, for instance, left off 32 onto 139. Like if you're coming from Waverly on 32 and you want to go into Jackson on 139, you can do that.
Okay.
You don't have to go down and go across the R cut and come back the other direction. Some R cuts is the way. That's the way they're set up.
You have to turn around and come back.
This one, they're allowing you to go. You're allowed to go from 32 on 139 either direction left. You can do that.
Okay.
That's what they told me. At least when I asked about this, because there was lots of people asking questions.
Yeah, that diagram.
I didn't know what an R-cut intersection was until I looked it up. But that is going on now. They're already working. They're going to be creating extra lanes. They're going to be having extra lanes. There's going to be extra signage, of course, and this will take most of the summer to do. I'm not sure when it will go into effect, whether it will be gradual or not, but it is supposed to be done. It's supposed to be done, actually, it's going to be more than the summer. I was thinking about another project. November the 1st is the target date.
For it to be done?
For it to be done. It's because, they've got to build, a U-turn lanes going both directions.
That seems fast, honestly, for a road project.
Right. Well, that is going on now. It's not in effect now. We'll let you know when it is, and ODOT will certainly let you know when it is. But that's what's going on at 32 and 139. And I tell you what, this was something. There was a bunch of people that got on there because this was on some ODOT site or whatever, and there was somebody posted it locally, and of course there wasn't a lot of information out on what this was, and people were saying it shouldn't be necessary. People just need to be careful when they're coming off 139. This shouldn't have to be done. We shouldn't have to be spending the money if people just paid attention.
Okay,
right.
fine.
The very next day, I have another report from the patrol about an injury-related wreck there at 32 and 139.
It's the same as McCarty Lane. There was no reason why people couldn't turn left or whatever there, but yet all the accidents happened there. So what did they do? They changed it.
That's right. They did.
So, I mean, it's easy to say you should be able to look both ways and whatever, but the proof's in the pudding, right? Like everybody keeps wrecking there. So
right. Well, and there was a lot. The same thing happened. This was long ago. You probably remember this. On 32, where you're going into Wellston on 327.
Yeah.
Remember they built the exit there?
Yes.
There wasn't an exit before, and there was a lot of wrecks where people were turning left into Wellston off 32.
It was a
even
mess.
though there was a traffic light, but that didn't seem to be enough.
It is what it is. That's you can tell people they should do this or should do this, but
well, anyway, traffic studies have shown that R cuts definitely decrease the number of wrecks, and this obviously should happen because you're not going to have people trying to cross the highway. And when I'm going on 32 through 139, I'm already slowing down a little bit because I don't know about whether that person stopped the intersection is going to try to get through there.
Well, and it's the same even at Burlington Road where there's all these red lights and stuff at the hospital there. It's like, please, somebody don't run out and hit me. And there's red lights there.
No,
but
I know.
It's still because we're all just paranoid about it because there were wrecks there for years. Mayhew isn't much better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's less sight line there than there is at 139. I don't know.
Well, anyway, I guess the traffic statistics speak for themselves.
They do.
Which we anecdotally know, even though we don't know numbers. It happens a lot.
Yes.
All right, some other things in the news, Jennifer. You may recall that on Friday, May the 24th, a 13-year-old boy was killed up in Vinton County in a four-vehicle wreck.
That.
It happened just north of MacArthur on State Route 93. And this, it's tragic regardless.
Oh,
but
my
in
gosh.
this case, I believe his father was driving. His name, the boy's name who died is Landon Cantrell Coleman. He was a passenger in his father's car, and they were hit in the rear. and that forced that vehicle over the center line into another vehicle coming the opposite direction.
Oof.
But anyway, he died instantly in that wreck on May the 24th. His funeral and celebration of life was just this past weekend in Wellston at McWilliams Funeral Home. There's going to be a candlelight vigil in honor of that young man, and also to help the families and the young people or whatever that's trying to deal with this loss, try to understand it. That candlelight vigil is going to be Wednesday, June the 5th at 6 p.m. at Vinton County Middle School. That was where he was a student. Each person who comes will receive a special battery-powered light to shine in memory of Landon. Counselors will be there available after the service, and there will be grief counseling actually before the vigil from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Guidance counselors, family support facilitators, and professionals from Hopewell Mental Health Centers will be there. They'll even have a therapy dog. And so, grief is such a hard thing to deal with. I mean, it comes and goes, when you have a loss. And when you have a loss like this, that's totally unexpected,
Yes.
You imagine how that works on the psyche of other 13-year-olds.
Yeah, and when you have children involved on both sides, it's that would be tough.
Right.
They need all the help they can get.
Right.
That's a good deal.
And speaking of loss, Red Thompson Jr., I really give him credit for this because he really knows a lot of people in both Jackson and Vinton counties. Mm-hmm. And I know this lady who we lost not too long ago, Sandy Leonard, who worked at Jackson-based papers.
She's the face that you think of when you think of going into the newspaper office.
Well, she was a receptionist and other things at the Jackson-based papers, mainly the ones that were at where the municipal court is now. But she worked with the papers after that.
Yes.
Her husband, who survives, Jim Leonard, was kind of like a plant foreman or whatever. He could make everything work in the back. But we lost Sandy to cancer earlier this year, and she remained active, even though, of course, she retired from the newspaper. She was very active in the community. She wrote a cooking column for the Vinton County Courier up until almost the very end, and we lost her at the age of 77 not too long ago, and she was very involved in the community.
Such a smiling face.
She was a great family person, and whoever she was dealing with, they were family.
Yeah.
Whether it was the workplace or a community group, like she was real big with the Jackson County Fair, Secret Santa, Victory Grange. She was a very active volunteer, and with all of those and more. And her loss will be felt. A lot of people knew Sandy, myself included.
Yeah.
All right. Also want to let you know some other things real quick because we're starting to run out of time. TLC Ministries is doing the Kids Summer Meals Program, which is so important in the summer.
Oh, yes.
Because, so many kids eat at school because they need to or because, you can't leave school. Mm-hmm. So, with a lot of single-family homes, a lot of two-parent workers, the kids need meals. And, sometimes income and finances are a possibility. Well, they will be doing the Kids Summer Meals Program that started this week. It will be... It's operated as a grab-and-go thing at these different stops, and don't have time to mention them all, but it's going to operate in all of our local towns: Oak Hill, Jackson, Colton, Wellston, and Hamden. And on your designated day at your designated stop, provided that you register for it, you can show up with your kid and you can get meals for 7 days.
Oh, wow!
So it's not one of those things where the way it's worked before, you stop and you eat there. But these are grab and goes, and that way it's good for the whole week. And then you just can stop there every week, and this will go into August.
How do you sign up?
It's online.
Okay.
Go to the TLC Ministries website or Facebook page, and you can see how to do it.
Awesome.
I'm not sure if there's any limitations there, but I really don't think there are. This is just something for the...
It's to make sure that the kids are taken care of during the summer when they're not at school.
Right, and the schedule you can see on the TLC Facebook or website, and we've also published it in the Telegram, and we're stating it on the radio as well because we know it affects a lot of people. The Jackson City Library has all sorts of things going on this summer. Roger Donaldson and April Eifler and the crew are really busy. Tonight, they're going to have the first of 3 family hikes. This sounds cool.
Very.
p.m., they're going to do a hike at Lake Catherine.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I think that if you call the library or go online there, you can see about sign-ups and how that works. Not a lot of information was put out, but I know they're doing it. And later on, at different dates, they're going to do Leo Petroglyph and Lake Alma. And then on July 15th, they're going to do a history walk downtown with Bob Irvin.
Now that will be interesting.
And there's all sorts of summer programs going on at the library and all of our local libraries. So
Yes.
you need to check that out, particularly families and children. The Tri-City Theater is going to do their summer movies. They always get a great crowd for that
Yes,
because
they
they're
do.
free.
Yay!
The first one is tomorrow. They're going to show Shrek. So if you haven't seen Shrek, or if you've seen it and you love it, go back. It's a first come, first served thing. There's going to be 8 free movies, with the first one going tomorrow. There's 2 showings. One is at 11 a.m. and one is at 2 p.m. And it really is. They really draw a crowd. So get
And
there
they're
early.
free. Yeah.
You can't bring in food, of course. That's not fair, but you can buy it there. All right.
Yeah.
And because you are getting to see the movie free, the staff recommends arriving at least 30 minutes ahead of showtime. This is at the Tri-City Theater there on East Main Street. Just go past the La Rosa's Pizzeria and go down that road, and you'll see Tri-City. All right, at the Good Shepherd Wesleyan Church, they're going to have, this should be very good, a Ugandan's Children Choir will be there. They have set up this concert. It's a very famous children's choir out of Uganda. They're going to perform a concert as part of their Light of Hope tour, so they go all over the place doing these concerts. And Christina Sexton Inbody, who does the Ladle of Love, she's the one that let us know about this. But this is a free concert. It's at 6 p.m., and it will be at the Good Shepherd Wesleyan Church, and that's on Chillicothe Pike, just west
That
of
sounds
Jackson.
awesome.
Also, people always want to know, when are they going to start the farmers market?
Yes.
It's June the 29th.
Okay.
Saturday, June the 29th. It will be on Harding Avenue on city-owned property across from Eddie Jones Park. There's a big lot there, and that is where they've done the farmers market for the last several years. And if you want to be a vendor, contact Sarah at 740-988-7853. And the idea is that these, it's agriculture, food, it can be about anything, but it should be locally produced products from local producers.
Yes.
That's what they're looking for. And of course, it's great because that is another opportunity, to get homegrown produce.
Absolutely.
And I've always found that, there's 10 or more vendors there, and you can get lots of things. It isn't just, corn and tomatoes and
there's
what you would expect.
Honey and baked goods
Honey
and all kind of great
baked goods
things.
and things that you might not find at a store.
Sure.
And this gives people who, they're not in position to have to do vending on their own or to have a store or even a temporary
Right.
thing. This is a place they can go, and with more there, it's kind of like a flea market or a yard sale. It's not the same thing, but there's multiple vendors there, so customers have
kind of
more.
a one-stop
customers
shop.
have more to pick from, and chances are there'll be more traffic there than there would be if you were doing it on your own.
And it is wildly popular, that is for sure.
Right. So anyway, we have reached 10 o'clock.
We have. Well, this has been a lot of fun catching up with you today, Pete, and I'm so glad that you explained about the highway situation, because that I was very confused about.
Right. Well, that R cut should make it safer for sure.
So if you're headed out
ODOT
that
have
way,
used this before. They like roundabouts and they like R cuts.
they do, the roundabouts, we didn't understand those. Now we don't understand our cuts, but we're about to figure it out.
Yeah. I used to close my eyes when I went into a busy roundabout, but I don't do it anymore.
Once you figure it out, it's okay.
I just yield. But the thing about a roundabout, if you're being careful and you yield, if you're not in one of those ones where you really don't have to, the person behind you gets pretty impatient with you.
Well, they can get over it.
Right. Okay.
Better safe than sorry.
Right. Well, it's the difference between getting hit in the back or getting hit in the front.
Yes, exactly.
Your decision making there.
You're right. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.